This episode of the AI Inside Podcast is brought to you by Aria. Get started for free today at airia.com. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the AI Inside Podcast, the show where we take a look at the AI that is layered throughout so much of the world of technology. And boy, we've got a lot to talk about today on that topic. Now, today, as you know, as those of you have followed this show for the last couple of years, Jeff Jarvis, his hit rate is pretty good on this show. He's here most episodes. This is one of those weeks where he has something going on. I think it's a media event that he's speaking at about the kind of the death of mass media. So, which I mean, he is fully equipped to talk about. So I'm happy that he's there. Sad to miss him, but happy for the opportunity to welcome to this show, definitely for the first time, my friend in podcasting, Tom Merritt. How you doing, Tom?
I am honored to be pinch hitting for the Shohei Ohtani of podcasting. Thank you for letting me come fill the shoes. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. For just a little bit of background, Tom and I have been podcasting in one way or another for almost 20 years at this point, right? Ish?
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. What is it, 2025? Yeah, I mean, I think I joined Buzz Out Loud sometime around like 2006. So yeah, near-ish.
Yeah,
you know.
And you were doing podcasts for ZDNet and stuff before that even, right? Like,
yeah. I was doing podcasts. I don't know how much we had, had worked together prior to that, but once Buzz Out Loud started, it was on like Donkey Kong, and yeah, I enjoy sharing this world with you when I have the opportunity to do a show with you. So, and we actually do it every week. We do it on your show, Daily Tech News Show. So people should know that. Search that out, Daily Tech News Show.
We'll be doing it tomorrow, Thursday. So check.
That's right. Yeah. We've got a couple of times a week, so look for that. But this show, we focus on AI, even though DTNS, we've done a lot on AI in the last,
to many chagrin.
Year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard, man, because like when you're talking about the world of technology right now, AI is kind of the predominant trend. It's proliferated, like, kind of like the goal of this show is to talk about the AI that's layered throughout the world of technology. AI is layered throughout technology as an industry, period. You really can't escape in it. So yeah, it's a challenge to not talk about AI because it's in everything.
I hadn't actually thought about this comparison before, but there was a time when people got tired of us always talking about the web in the 90s. Like people are like, let's get back to talking about the real things that matter. RS-232 interfaces, CD-ROMs. Like, why are we talking about this internet thing? The internet's been around for a while. Why is the web such a big deal overnight? And yeah, we don't care if somebody talks about a website now because it's just part of the conversation. We'll get there with AI, I bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, someday. That's kind of been my ongoing, curiosity is at what point does AI as a technology, as an explanation or a description for every new innovation that's coming onto the scene, when does AI fade into the background? And do we ever get back to the point of this thing just does really cool things?
It's just a capability. And honestly, I try to not use the word AI as much as possible when I'm talking about it because it can mean so many different things. I try very much to say, I'm talking about generative chat, or I'm talking about deep learning, or I'm talking about machine learning, because there's so many aspects of it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Well, on a show like AI Inside, I know I say AI probably at least 100 times.
You're not going to be able to avoid it. So,
just is what we do here. Let's start off with something that's very top of mind for me. And we actually recorded together for this morning's episode of Daily Tech News Show on a similar topic, and that's just primarily because Samsung's Galaxy XR headset is kind of one of the top pieces of news today as we record this. And it's important to talk about for me because I actually flew out to New York a week ago and was there to check out the headset myself. So I was invited along with a number of other journalists to go out there and cover the event, which broadcasted for everyone else last night at, I think, 7 p.m. Pacific. And it was really the unveiling of what you had probably heard. And even on the show, we talked about Project Muhan over the last year. A year ago, I went out to the Google campus and checked out a very early version of this headset. and now we have it. And so, yeah, we should just kind of start there, because when it comes to artificial intelligence and when it comes to Google's Gemini, the contextualization of the world, I think that devices like this are where it starts to really show proof of its value. Granted, not everybody, oops, sorry, my phone's going nuts. Not everybody is going to buy one of these headsets, and that's one of the things that I really walked away from this with is, I don't know how many of these Samsung's actually going to sell. It's $1,800. It's an XR, headset that's meant to be an immersive thing, which is nice in itself, but it means closing off the world that surrounds you, and not everybody's interested in that. I don't know how many units they're going to sell of this device, but I do think that it's an important starting point for what comes next as AI continues to develop and become really strong and capable at contextualizing the world. Once we have that integrated with things that we wear, especially like in the form of glasses, which I think are going to be a big deal, smart glasses, this is kind of a foundational piece for that. And to that end, I think it's really important to the world of AI.
Yeah, one of the things that I've taken away, and I haven't been able to try the Galaxy XR yet, but I'm basing it on what you've told me. So at least I'm 1 degree of separation away from somebody who's had it on. But it does seem like they took very good advantage of the capability of Gemini in the implementation, so that you can just naturally tell it to do something or ask it to do something or direct it to do something, and it does it, which is one of the things that these generative models are good at, is understanding what you want and then translating it into an action. Something that is a big advantage over the Apple Vision Pro, which does not have that capability nearly at the level of Gemini yet. And I think the biggest selling point for smart glasses, the biggest selling point for smart glasses is they look like glasses, so I don't have to wear big goggles on my face. But the second biggest selling point is I can just talk to them. I can just say to, the Meta Ray-Bans, take a photo, or how do I get to this place, or what am I looking at? And it'll most of the time be able to answer that. So I'm with you. I think the implementation of Gemini in the Galaxy XR is the most fascinating thing, because what you want is the XR to shrink down and be glasses, right? And be able to project and show you all the things it can in a normal glasses frame.
Yeah. I mean, having a normal glasses frame is one thing, but like, why would I wear these glasses over those glasses? The differentiator of any, of the glasses that we're talking about here is the added context, is the integration of the AI, is potentially, and I mean, Meta just showed off at least a monocular version of their displays embedded into one of the lenses. That as well,
If only it was actually on a monocle. That would have been amazing.
I mean, somebody's got to do it, right? You
Eventually,
hold it up to your eye.
Some company in China will do that. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, maybe Honor. Honor seems like the kind of company that would maybe pull that off.
Honor or OnePlus.
Right. Oh, I love it though. Somebody's got to do that. While I was at Google a year ago, I did get to check out a binocular version of their Astra glasses. And so that is essentially, one display, I think it was Raxium micro LED technology in both of the lenses. And what that gave you was not like this expansive view of, oh my goodness, everywhere I look, I'm surrounded by virtual objects in 3 dimensions. It gave you a particular window in your view, but that window was 3-dimensional. And, aside from kind of like the neat kind of, oh, I look down and I see a 3-dimensional version of my navigation map, that appears in front of me. Like, that's neat. How necessary is it to see that in 3 dimensions? Not very, it's certainly, it's not critical to the utility of that use case, but I do wonder how the immersive quality of headsets like this hopefully get developers' minds thinking about what that could mean for glasses like that. And it's not just about, I look at that and identify what it is, but how can we tailor these, smaller smart glasses that have these 3-dimensional displays in ways that suddenly we can offer something that couldn't be offered in that kind of form factor before. And I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But I'm curious.
The assistant is always going to be a base feature in these, right? You're going to want to be able to talk to it and ask it. It's what the actual device can do that will be the differentiator. I've been sitting here thinking about this, and I expect we'll get to a point that's similar to laptops, where we have, the desktop replacement laptop, which is really heavy and you don't really want to carry it around a lot, but it's, technically portable. Like I bet the Galaxy XR Vision Pro style Quest headsets get small enough that they're kind of like goggles and they're the desktop replacement. And then the Ray-Bans and I guess maybe the Gentle Monsters that Samsung said they're working on, they start to get more capable and can do more 3D stuff like you're talking about. And those become the 3-in-1s, the flexibles, that they can't do as powerful of a thing as the desktop replacement, but they can do a lot. And I wonder if this category just becomes a continuum of those kinds of form factors.
Yeah, I mean, Samsung was alluding to, what comes next. And, there's the larger headset, and then there's the distinction between AI glasses and XR glasses, which I don't know. In my head, I hadn't really, I'd kind of lumped them in a similar category, even though they are very different, right? Like I have the Meta Oakleys somewhere.
Yeah.
And those don't have a display, but they can do some of this contextualization stuff
and maybe that always stays around, right?
I think so. I think that's a pretty important piece for it. Because really at the end of the day, if the goal, and at least in my mind, the goal is adding context and understanding to things that we're already looking at in a way that is so, non-intrusive and so just like embedded into, ambient in what we're already wearing and everything, then we start to understand the world on a deeper level, potentially. Maybe that's a utopian view, but that's what I think technology like this can do. Be curious to see if people are open to it. Are people open to wearing something like this and contextualizing through that technology on their face?
Depends on what it looks like and what it can do, right? It'll be interesting to find out where that Venn diagram crosses.
For sure. As far as the hardware is concerned, and by the way, I do have a video up on my channel that went up last night. That apparently is playing already in the tab. Anyways, so if you want to know a little bit more about kind of like my prognostication about what this headset actually means for the future of smart glasses, you can go there and watch it. Just search Jason Howell on YouTube. But, just a little bit about the goggles themselves, 4K displays, micro LED displays in each eye, up to 90 hertz refresh. There is no battery on the headset. The battery is a separate unit that, you can put in your pocket. And some people might look at that and be like, oh, that's lame. But I honestly think it's a good kind of middle ground, because it means the headset isn't this heavy, chunky thing. It lightens the load a little bit. They say 2 hours of general use. You could plug in, of course, and get all day. But that's another thing. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about this. There's this ongoing kind of belief that like headsets like this, the immersive quality and the virtual displays that surround you, there's a future when workers are wearing these things and surrounding themselves and being more productive and everything. And I just don't buy it. Like that's another thing where I'm like, maybe smart glasses with displays, because then you're not locked into this gigantic headset world. I couldn't work all day wearing a headset like this, but I could.
Not like this. Yeah, I'm with you. I think there is a potential form factor that's more like safety goggles that people are used to wearing, and wouldn't be as heavy, wouldn't be as sweaty as these are now, although safety goggles can be a little heavy and uncomfortable and sweaty, right? So I think there's something there where you're wearing enhanced safety goggles, basically, that can show you things in the real world. And maybe there's a few roles that don't wear safety goggles now, but you'll wear this kind of goggles now. But that's where my mind goes to.
Absolutely see that coming. I mean, there was Google Glass, right? Somewhere on my shelf back there, I have a Google Glass.
Yeah, me too. We all have them stuck away on a shelf somewhere. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It comes out as a prop in a podcast.
Yeah.
That's its use now. But I mean, even with that product, like when it didn't quite find its broad appeal market, it did end up, niching down into very small subsets of like enterprise uses or, medical uses or whatever there for a while anyways.
Apple Vision Pro is trending down that road where the majority of its sales tend to be to workplaces that want to use it in the enterprise.
Okay, that's an interesting clue then for headsets like this. That's a very it's also a very expensive headset, and so businesses might be more willing to spend the money if they know there's a reason to do that, and they have
businesses
the capital
still want to
that.
save money, and they might be more willing to buy into Galaxy XR if they're doing a custom solution than an Apple Vision Pro. So I hadn't thought about that till you said that just now.
Yeah.
Like this could threaten that base for the Apple Vision Pro as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Samsung did spend part of their presentation talking about the enterprise as an important aspect of this. Based, this hardware's based on Android XR, which is Google's latest version of Android, tailored to XR devices, not just goggles like this, but the smart glasses, the AI glasses, and what they say is whatever comes next. And so I think that's what ties into what you're talking about as far as very specific tailor-made, let's say, goggles for a specific reason. This is a platform upon which people can build devices like that appeal to that very specific subset of user. And I'll be curious to see. It's kind of like in the smartphone world, we've got the what is the manufacturer that we were talking about last night that does all sorts of like massive Android phones with 20,000 milliamp hour batteries and a pop out little module that turns into like a flashlight.
No, I was just listening to that this morning, and it's got
Alcatel. I think it's
Alcatel.
Alcatel. Yeah, and and so they find their way, right? Like Alcatel, that's not a device that's going to appeal to everyone, but there is probably a group that's like, oh my God, that's the thing that I need because that helps me with this very particular use case, and I think we'll see that with Android XR.
Definitely.
Right.
And Android XR is more adaptable in that way. So you'll see more people be able to make those things. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Real quick before I button this up, I just want to mention there was one of the cool features that, maybe there's AI in the loose sense, driving the feature, but it was neat nonetheless, was this this demo of auto spatialization that basically just takes anything that the device sees and it spatializes it in real time. 20 millisecond delay was all it took. And I already told you this, of course, on DTNS. You already know.
I'm pretending like I'm hearing it for the first time.
Yes, exactly. But I picked a video on YouTube of an NBA TV broadcast, and it was just your standard top-down shot showing the court, people running around, and they put on that auto spatialization. And I mean, immediately it kicked into a very convincing three-dimensional view of all the shots that came up throughout the broadcast. And I don't know, that's pretty rad. I mean, it's not perfect, but that's a pretty cool use case for this kind of immersive quality of this headset.
While you were talking,
Curious.
My Samsung order tracking number came through and said it has been shipped. So I'll be getting one of these.
Oh, right on. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
I can't
it's
wait
not like
to hear
I
what you
did
think about
anything but spend money to get it. It wasn't hard
Yeah.
to order. I was one of the things I was curious about because I didn't order it until last night, and I wondered if my ship date would have slipped, but I'm still getting it on the 31st like everybody else. At least that's what they're saying.
Amazing. Cool.
So maybe not that many orders is what I'm saying. We'll see.
I mean, that is a real question that I have. How many people does this actually apply to? Appeal to, let's say. So cool. Well, I'm sure you'll be talking all about it on Daily Tech News Show as you go along, and
absolutely,
I will be very curious to hear what you think about it. So I do want to throw out just a quick thank you to our amazing patrons for supporting this show. We couldn't do it without you. Patreon.com/AI Inside Show. Y'all are amazing. We have a new patron, Jason K. And then DJ Route has upgraded, gave us a raise. So thank you both for ongoing support and for being here. And just enabling the health of this show, that it continues. We literally could not do it without you. All right. I am going to take a quick break here once I have all my buttons in a row. And I want to thank the sponsor of this episode, which is Area. Area is all about kind of improving your job security If you have questions, about job security, if you have questions about cybersecurity, all that kind of stuff, Area is here to help you through that. And it's really easy to feel overwhelmed with just how fast things are moving in the world of AI. Innovation is happening at record speed. I think that gives a lot of people, at least some people, anxiety about like where this whole AI train is headed. And every week, this week is no different. It feels like there's another breakthrough or another thing to consider, and you really want to move forward, but you don't want to break things. Well, enter Area, the enterprise AI orchestration and security platform that's built to boost your confidence. And with Area, you don't have to compromise between speed and innovation or security and governance. It's really, in this case, it's not about just checking the boxes. It's about building trust with the teams who need to use this stuff every day. So you can quickly deploy AI without cutting corners on compliance. You can give your teams the confidence to adopt AI with Area, because AI feels safe, and when it does and you feel that, well, it stops being something to kind of tiptoe and dance around. It starts to be something that your team can actually rely on, right? Once we start to get to the point of trust and safety about these tools, then we can rely on them, and then that can transform everything. So if you're ready to eliminate your AI anxiety, visit area.com to get started for free today. And I'll spell it out for you because it's not as it sounds. It's AIRIA, area.com. And we really thank them for their support of the AI Inside podcast. It's great having them on board. Thank you, Area. All right, we're going to take another break. And then on the other side of the break, we're going to show off a new browser from OpenAI. Yes, Tom. Yesterday we did the Daily Tech News Show, and we had to kind of push things off because very last minute we heard that OpenAI had an announcement. They were going to take the wraps off of their new browser called Atlas, ChatGPT Atlas, actually, in completion. Now, you are a ChatGPT user. Do you have Atlas? Have you played around with it yet at this point? Because it's available.
Yeah,
now.
I downloaded it, logged in as you must with an OpenAI login, and I actually played with it on my live stream. I do a live stream office hours a couple times a week, and so I was just asking people, what should we try to make it do? And it was interesting to try it out. I found there are some limitations to using it as a regular browser. It's designed differently. Like there's no home button. So I found myself having to create a new tab if I wanted to go back to the default screen sometimes.
Yeah, it's feeling kind of empty up here, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that.
But I used the agent mode, and I gave it very vague instructions on purpose. Like, I want to make a sandwich. And it was like, no, I'm not going to make up the sandwich for you. I'm like, okay, well, give me some deli meat, bread, cheese, and pickles. And it did a good job of buying the most generic versions of all of those at Instacart. I didn't end up actually going through with the purchase, but it did stop at checkout. So yeah, I haven't used it for anything particularly productive, just tested it out. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, same. I definitely haven't played around with the agentic aspects of it. So I was kind of following along with what you were saying. I have it open for video
yeah, I see that now.
On the YouTube channel. I have it open. I want to make a sandwich. It asked me, what am I in the mood for? I said, deli meat, pickles, mayo. Okay, so when you got to this point, now how do I kick the agent into gear?
So you have to click that plus button and then choose agent mode.
Okay. So let's see here. Agent mode.
There you go. Okay. And you have to be on a paying subscription for anybody who's trying this.
Yes.
Like, I don't see agent mode. If you're on a free account, you won't see it.
Right, exactly. The agentic aspect of this browser is for paid members only. I am, of course, logged in. I am a paid member. So buy these items, would it?
Let's see if that works.
Agent mode may introduce risk. Okay, start logged in, I guess. Okay.
Logged in means like if you're logged into Instacart, it'll just be able to go to Instacart. Otherwise, and I wasn't either. So it asked me like, can you log into Instacart now? I was like, okay. And so if you stay logged out, it'll do that. It'll ask you whether you want to log in for stuff.
Okay. Right.
It's just a safety measure if you're worried that it's going to go rogue and, get into your Gmail and do weird stuff.
Okay, so it looks like it's kind of switched over to a different view. What we have while it's doing this is a little bar down at the bottom that says I can take control at any point. So if I don't like where it's going or I want to step in before it does something.
It's going to Amazon for you to buy your sandwich materials. That's an interesting choice.
Well, and it says, since we can't use query parameters on Amazon, I'll open up the Amazon tab and to proceed. It looks like Amazon
I didn't tell it to go to
recognizes the
Instacart, and it went to Instacart. But I said buy groceries, whereas you were more vague, so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just knows you. Do you use Amazon Fresh for grocery delivery? Maybe it knows that.
I don't know that we've ever used. Well, I mean, probably at some point we've used Amazon Fresh.
But that's not it then.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, there is, this is another aspect of Atlas and definitely one that people are talking a lot about, which is the browser memory. So if you opt in, the things that you do within Atlas will, my understanding, be remembered across sessions. So probably over time it would understand, oh yeah, you do shop at Amazon or you do shop at Instacart, and maybe it would inform those decisions in the future, I would imagine. Based on that memory, that would be really useful. It is telling me I need to sign into my Amazon account. Let me know once you're logged in, then we can continue to add deli meat, pickles, and mayo to your cart. Okay, well, yes, I could do that. This is all done inside of what appears to be a Chromium browser. I didn't check to verify, but
it's a Chromium based browser. They've customized it, but if you look, you can find the signs.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it does kind of.
It's not Chrome
like it right off the top.
However, if you choose logged in mode and you have associated an account with ChatGPT, like maybe Dropbox or Google Docs, it will be able to take advantage of that, which is kind of interesting. Oh, look, there's Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. Yeah, I did a search for Daily Tech News Show. This is another aspect of ChatGPT Atlas, which is it kind of gives you a few options as far as how you get your information. We're very used to, if you're a ChatGPT user, you're very used to kind of getting the conversational thread that we're looking at here. This is pretty standard for ChatGPT. It also gives you these tabs, search, which definitely resembles more of like a straight up search engine.
It's the cleanest search results you'll find on the internet for the most part, outside of, some niche search engine. It's cleaner than Bing, cleaner than Google.
Yeah, interesting. Obviously it's limited. It's only showing me, I think, maybe 10 results, and then has a little jump out for
it takes you
Google.
to Google.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it takes you there. The other tabs, images, which I was trying this earlier and I wasn't really getting much out of it. Like Daily Tech News Show, I would imagine there would be images found.
I would think so, since they showed us some on the first page.
So, yeah, totally. Exactly.
Right? There's some images you could put in your images
some.
tab. That's interesting. Okay.
No images, no videos, no news. These are all the different
definitely
tabs.
Video. Yeah, maybe there's no news. I don't know.
So I don't know if this is a temporary glitch, because I was even trying like all sorts of things that I just figured would be something. Like I put in Google as my term, and then I went over to images and there was absolutely nothing. So it could be that maybe they're having an issue on the back end or whatever. But
yeah, or some kind of filtering problem, trying to keep copyrighted images or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, not even one though. Like one thing that I know that I use these systems for that has become really handy for me as a video creator is sometimes I'm looking for official B-roll for something, and when I go onto Google and I do that search, I end up with a million different YouTube results. Most of them from other creators, and I don't want to use their B-roll. I want to use the thing from Google. And so I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll be like, find me the first official promo video for this thing that Google released. And it will, pull back a couple of results. And that's kind of what I'm hoping I could use these tabs for. So it's like, okay, here's all those videos and I wish I could show it to you because I saw it yesterday, but it's
I just searched apples, not Apple, but apples. And I got images and videos for something very simple. Just the word apples. I'm curious if you get it or not. So
and if not, like,
what are apples? Please tell me.
I don't even. Yeah, see,
no images found. Okay, so that's
something up on my side.
You know what? I'm gonna share my screen here too, because I think that's
let me remove mine.
Kind of,
if you're able to,
weird. Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think you have to add it because I'm not in control.
I see. Okay, so
there's videos of apples there's images of apples. So now, because that worked for me, I want to do Daily Tech News Show and see if I get a different. Yeah. It gave me images.
There you go. All right, so there's something wonky on my end. I wonder what that is. Like, I don't have any.
I don't get a lot of web results for apples.
Yeah.
And no links found for Daily Tech News Show in search results. You know what this tells me is that it's not good at replicating the search across tabs, because I was in the tab when I did Daily Tech News Show here. Yeah. Oh, look, there's
interesting. Yep. Yeah, that's what I saw earlier when I tried this out myself too. Okay, so it's not perfect. I'm wondering, do I have an extension going? But I didn't install any extensions.
No, you wouldn't.
Atlas.
Yeah, I don't think it.
I don't even know that they support that.
I do have an update waiting for Atlas. Maybe if I update it, it'll stop being able to find images.
It's an upgrade. Yes, it's a new feature. We don't show you things, so you don't slow yourself down.
Yeah.
It also offers a writing chip. So if you happen to be in Gmail or something was the example that they showed, and you're typing, gives you a chip over the text that you've selected, let's say, and allows you to edit that with ChatGPT suggestions, kind of similar to what Grammarly does. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so had you checked out Comet before this, or any of the other?
Just barely. I downloaded it, I used it when it was free, and as soon as I hit the subscription paywall, I stopped. But I didn't spend a lot of time with it. On
this one, being that you use ChatGPT semi-regularly for different aspects of your life, do you see the appeal of shifting to a browser like it, or do you see it as a go-to when I need a certain thing done sort of thing?
I don't even see that. I don't see myself using it at all.
Oh, wow.
Because I can just go to a ChatGPT tab and get most of what I'm getting from here done. Now, we did, DTNS listener did write in and say they have found it useful for coding because it's easier to ask it why it's showing up in the browser in a certain way when they were using Codex, whereas Codex can't see the entire web page and Atlas can. So that's the first use case where I'm like, oh yeah, you would definitely want to use the Atlas browser for that. But most of the stuff that I'm seeing I could also do just in Chrome or Firefox. So I'm not sure why I need to run Atlas yet.
Yeah, when I use Comet, largely what I end up turning to Comet for is when I'm building out rundown. I'm building out a rundown for a show, and a lot of that is research, as you well know. You're very familiar with this whole process.
Sure.
A lot of it is research, understanding, synthesizing a large amount of information in a small, in small chunks, or that's at least how my brain works. And so often what I will do is I will read through an article, but I'll also run it through an AI system to condense it down to something that is a little bit more like, these are the really important things, and it might get it right, it might get it wrong, but at least gives me certain things that I can focus my attention on so I don't get lost in the weeds, which can definitely happen with my brain. And doing that in just a browser tab involves me opening up the story, copying the text, pasting it over, blah, 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 versus something like Perplexity Comet or this, where I just have the tab open and I say, okay, here's the story. I'm reading through it, but you also give me your thing. And that just saves me time. But that's one of the only things I really use it for right now.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing something too. I feel like there's some capability that it can do that I'm just not aware of, that I need to unlock, and then I'll understand at least why I need to launch it for that thing. But even then, if I were to discover that, I doubt I would live in Atlas. And maybe I just need to make myself live in Atlas for a while to understand, when you live in Atlas, you get these benefits that you wouldn't realize otherwise.
Yeah, could be. Cool. Well, folks can check it out. Obviously, that agent mode is only if you are a paid user. There is an incognito mode, by the way, so that, especially with browser memory, there might be certain things that you don't want fed into that memory. So you can go in incognito. That's nice to have. I mean, ChatGPT already offered an incognito mode anyway.
Well, that's a Chromium feature. So that's another indication that you're using a Chrome-based browser, right?
Yeah, indeed. I will definitely be playing around with that a little bit more, and I'm sure I'll talk about it on a future episode, as I'm sure you will too. I saw a few stories about likeness, and I noticed this morning, I don't know how I missed it, but you were on Sora. I am on Sora. I haven't spent a huge amount of time on it, but I have been, kind of creating some random things, so I followed you on Sora. But this whole likeness thing, it's almost like the likeness wars are upon us, where suddenly these systems are doing things that for the last couple of years have made people concerned about their likeness being used for this, that, and the other thing without their permission, without their compensation, all this stuff. And we're starting to see the systems kind of at a point to where they're allowing more stuff. I think that's definitely the case with Sora. They're allowing, they were allowing representations of Martin Luther King Jr. They were allowing, certain actors who did not give their permission, or let's say did not opt out, because I think that's OpenAI's approach.
When they
with
launched,
Sora.
it was opt out, and then within a few days they changed it to keeping people off anyway, even if they didn't ask for it. But Martin Luther King Jr. was an interesting case because he's a historical figure.
Totally. Yeah, it's an interesting distinction. The estate has basically said, hey, we're finding some very disrespectful depictions of Martin Luther King. Please remove them. To OpenAI's credit, they have been pretty responsive. They said, quote, while there are strong free speech interests in depicting historical figures, OpenAI believes public figures and their families should ultimately have control over how their likeness is used. So I think they've removed. I definitely saw a few of those depictions with Martin Luther King. I was like, oh, I wonder where this is going to go. This isn't
well,
good.
When I was on Sora pretty early, and they were all over the place. There were some that were just perfectly fine. Nothing bad about it. There were some that were, I wouldn't say disrespectful, but certainly not respectful, just sort of silly. And you're like, I could see some people not liking that. And then there were some that were clearly disrespectful. The actual offensive ones I thought were pretty rare. And I was surprised by that. I mostly just saw something where they, make him say gibberish or something where you're like, that's not great. And to OpenAI's credit, like you said, they didn't legally have to do this because he's a historical figure. But because of public pressure, I'm not going to go so far as to give them credit for being great folks, but public pressure means they don't want to deal with that. And so they're going to respect the wishes of the estate.
Yep. And then we have Bryan Cranston. This was another thing that came up very recently. Saw it on TechMeme anyways. I wasn't aware. I haven't seen any Generations with Bryan Cranston. Of course, he's Breaking Bad, Malcolm in the Middle actor. You'd recognize him. But he's finding, he was finding some videos on the platform with him that shouldn't be there. So it's him and SAG-AFTRA applying pressure on OpenAI to limit the platform's ability to make generations in their likeness, in their voices, that sort of stuff. And again, OpenAI working to address those requests. No real resistance that I've seen reported as far as that's concerned, but being responsive, I suppose.
Yeah, these filters are not 100%. That's the problem.
No, they never are.
They never are. Again, as someone who was using it pretty heavily for the first week, I can say that the abuses were not the dominant thing. They were edge cases, and I rarely saw them. But if you went looking for them, you could find them, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that's something about the AI platforms as well that I've definitely learned over the last couple of years, because there are a lot of people, journalists and just regular users, that are looking for ways to push the models to their absolute limit, to kind of break them, to kind of demonstrate, like, see, if we push hard enough. Granted, like, how hard did you have to push? Did you have to work days to get it to say that one thing that you captured as the prime example that it's
not even
up.
about how hard they had to work, but like, was the intention to make it do something?
Yeah, sure,
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but that's one thing. Was your intention to make it do something? I think part of the debate is, yeah, but no matter your intention, it did the thing that you're saying it shouldn't have done. And that should not be. I mean, it's kind of a similar argument to like these AI systems are bad because they're not 100% factual.
Yeah.
And like they never will be
or
100%.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
exactly.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a fair way to frame the argument, which is you may not see most people doing this because most people aren't trying to do something bad. At worst, they're trying to do something silly, but it could be used for this. And then it becomes, okay, since it could be used for that, if a very small number of people use it for that bad use, what's the bad effect of that? And how much effort should be put against making sure that they can't do that?
Yep. Yeah. Very true. On another kind of side of all this, not OpenAI, but within Google, YouTube now has, or have been testing anyways, I think they've been testing this for a while since earlier this year, a likeness detection piece of technology, a tool for right now access for only certain creators in the YouTube partner program, but it allows creators to more easily, I doubt it catches all of them, but I'm sure it catches some of them at least. AI generated videos using that person's face or their voice. That creator can then
not their
remove
voice.
Those videos,
just
not their
face.
Voice.
Yeah,
just their face. Oh, okay.
That's one of the weaknesses of this. If it simulates just voice and doesn't have the face, then it's not going to catch it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I guess how identifiable is a voice on its own?
I mean, I can go to 11 Labs and make you and me right now. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, even on Sora, well, I'm just saying, like, if someone heard an AI generation of my voice but didn't see my face, would they actually know it was me?
Well, if you make it say, I'm Jason Howell and I like eating poop, then yeah.
Right. Hey, that is not true, Tom.
Right.
Take it back.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so the platforms are thinking about this stuff. Here, YouTube is integrating this. Probably has plans to roll it out, I'm sure, beyond just the select crew of creators.
Well, it's partner program. So it's the most, I mean, that's not a select crew. It's a very large number of people that are in the partner program. But yeah, it's not everybody.
I guess that means it's me too. I'll have to look for these controls and see if I can find them. So yeah, likeness, it's a thing.
Yeah, it's now content ID, likeness and copyright.
Totally, you're right. It's another form of content ID that we've gotten so used to. Interesting. I know on Sora, like, isn't it weird with Sora? I've trained it multiple times, and yet the likeness, it's similar in some ways, but like sometimes it completely gets it off. It's not 100. Like, it doesn't follow even the same track. Like I did the Spectacle Fest video earlier this morning of you and me. So any Buzz All Out fans, go Sora, find it. But it took me like 4 generations to get there because the other 3 were great, except when it showed me, like, it clearly was not me. It was like some other random dude. I'm like, how do you have the model, but like, are you choosing not to follow it? Or
that's
whatever?
The unpredictability of the model. Like, it's not on rails. This is something that's important for people to understand is these models just generate stuff. And one of the ways they're able to do that well is not do it the same way every time. It's one of the things that gives the illusion of creativity, which means sometimes you're going to get weird results. Like, I've often tried to do a cameo on Sora of me and Brian Brushwood or me and Scott Johnson where it merges us. And there's 2 people that are both of us. It's, like a transporter accident, and that I have not published most of those. They're too weird.
Yeah, totally. I have a lot of drafts as well. They don't all make it. And over time, a lot of the stuff that you see on a platform like Sora just starts to really look and feel the same.
Yeah, you start to get the vocabulary of what it does, and it's no longer novel.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, kind of spoils it a little bit. Microsoft has plans, and they're kind of rolling out plans to start transforming Windows into what they called an AI PC, or at least did they call it AI PC or
Copilot?
Yeah, Copilot, turning Windows 11 PC into an AI PC, which as a whole kind of similar to what we were talking about earlier with Galaxy XR. Like, what does it mean to have an AI PC or an AI operating system? It just means that, or at least right now, it just means that these AI tendrils, in this case Copilot, are integrated in more places throughout the operating system. And are people open to that? Do people care? Do people actually use those tools? Microsoft is betting that people will, as it continues to develop Windows around that.
Yeah. And honestly, this is a marketing term for Microsoft right now. I don't think even they would deny that. But what's important is, are these capabilities the kind of capabilities that will make your life better? So instead of having to go buy a Copilot Plus PC with a special processor on your existing Windows 11 machine, can you say, where's the setting that lets me adjust the sound card? Or sound card, I'm dating myself, but you know what I mean. And it will be able to return that on any PC and tell you, this is the exact setting you need. That's useful. That kind of stuff is useful. It's also going to have a lot of things that it won't do well, and it'll have a lot of demos of it doing things that you'll never use.
Yeah, people will record that and make sure and put that out and see, this is the reason why you don't want to use it, because it did this that one time. But yeah, so, Microsoft is seeing voice as kind of a primary input method, along with keyboard, along with mouse. I can totally see that. I have gotten more used to, not on the OS level, but in working with some of the LLMs that I do integrate with or interact with, let's say, I have gotten more used to using my voice instead of typing and just rambling. It's like hit the voice input and just start rambling about the thing, and it might not be the most obvious, cohesive, blah, 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 but these systems are pretty good at understanding over the course of a lot of words the thing you're really getting at.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a really eye-opening experience. It's like, oh man, that was so much easier than trying to craft the perfect prompt to get there.
Because the one thing LLMs are good at is extracting information from other information and going, I think this is the important part, right? Because that's what an LLM is at heart, is what are the relationships between parts of words, right?
Totally. So yeah, and then there is an agentic aspect of this as well. Microsoft testing Copilot actions, essentially agentic actions on behalf of the user, and that system is currently a little limited, I think, as they kind of build that out and get more comfortable with it, as people get more comfortable with it.
Agents walk like Frankenstein. That's what I imagine when I'm watching them work. They just sort of lumber along, and I
love that.
They are walking, but it's weird, and you're not sure if they're going in the right direction.
You look at them, and they've got a dead look in their eyes. They're like, are you entirely there?
Are you really alive? I'm not sure.
Are we connecting right now, or you just following
Are you about
instructions?
to smash something? Yeah.
That is so true. The agents walk like Frankenstein. I love that. Yeah. So, okay. Do you use Windows PCs very much?
I do. Yeah. I've got a Dell Windows Alienware right there for gaming and other things. I ended up not using it every day, I'll be honest, but I use it multiple times a week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then, someday soon it might have a little AI Copilot layer embedded a little deeper, and
indeed,
you can choose not to use it if it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Which I imagine a lot of people probably will. Yeah, exactly. Real quick, if you are enjoying this show, if you have enjoyed it over the last almost 2 years, we're almost coming up on 2 years here in a couple of months, so I'm really happy with that. But if you're enjoying AI Inside and you haven't yet, please leave a review. Go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you find your podcasts, if there's a way to rate it or review it. Reviews are really great, and on Apple Podcasts, it really does help to move the needle for exposure. So please do that. It takes about a couple of minutes. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just share what you think about the show, and I really appreciate it if you do that. All right, going to take another quick break. Come back with a little bit of a speed round and get you out of here. Hold tight. All right, a few stories to round things out here. Anthropic's Claude Code now has a web interface, kind of a big sticking point with coding tools like this one was that it kind of ran in more of like a terminal interface kind of presentation. Also, and I wasn't familiar with this or aware of this, required a never-ending stream of permissions pop-ups in order to do things like access files and run commands and everything. And I imagine when you're using these things and relying on them, like it's like a real trade-off, right? It's like, okay, I get it. You're protecting me. You're making sure that you're not going to overstep the boundaries, and I didn't know. But at the same time, like if I'm really comfortable with what you're capable of, I want to just be able to run free. And, maybe you are just set up inside of a sandbox and I say, just, go nuts. And apparently Claude Code does that now. It sandboxes the environment so users can really set those boundaries up front and just use it and vibe code away, I guess.
Yeah.
Vibe
and you
away.
can do multiple agents at once when you have this, unlike the terminal mode, which is
That's
a
true.
handy thing too.
Yeah, totally. So that's very cool. Anthropic says this reduces all of those like permissions pop-ups by around 84%. So that could really speed you up. And I think in the world of vibe coding, it's all about the speed. Well, it's not all about the speed. It's about the speed and it's about, getting it right.
Yeah. Leading to your vibe life.
Yes, your vibe life. That was that came up yesterday. I got to figure out how I work that into my everyday vernacular. Pinterest responding to user complaints about a deluge of AI generated content within the service. I've certainly heard from people about this, users of Pinterest, which I'm not really. Like I use it every once in a while for very specific things, I suppose. But I could see why a platform like this would be inundated because this platform is really, in my mind, it's about inspiration. It's about like ideas and creativity and inspiration. Oh, I want to decorate my room. Here's a bunch of boards that, have demonstrate the kind of vibe I'm going for. And it's really easy to come up with a lot of really weird looking rooms or, and they might not even be realistic layouts of rooms when AI is used to generate them. So now there are tools to remove that content from your feeds. So
by category, which is, I think that's interesting because it implies that people might want to see generated images in some categories because it's art and it's fantastical and I enjoy watching what people are experimenting with, but I don't want it in my household organization stuff. So I thought that was an interesting way of approaching it.
Totally. Yeah, I think in my mind at first I would have assumed that it would just be all or nothing.
Yeah, right.
All off. Because when I have talked to people who are Pinterest users who really don't want to see the AI generated content, they are definitely coming from the perspective of all or nothing. It's like, get this the heck out of my experience. But you're right. It's probably a really good control capability to be able to focus it. This is just where I'm going to spend the most of my time. And I want to make sure that if I'm, remodeling my house, I want to make sure that it's only showing me actual, believable, doable stuff that isn't just derived from fantasy. So, General Motors. So this is an interesting story. I saw this right before we started, right before we hopped on. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, I have to talk about this because I have a related story to it. But GM plans to introduce Google Gemini AI into its vehicles starting next year. So it'll be integrated into the infotainment system. Obviously, drivers, you talk to the AI, similar, at least in this article, they're like similar to talking to a passenger. And so I wonder if the cognitive load is a little different there, but it's probably very similar if you're just talking. Able to manage the vehicle settings, suggest routes, control entertainment features, and just in a related note, by 2028, GM plans a driver assistance system for hands-free, eyes-off driving as well. So that's really interesting. But okay, so Gemini come into the car. Is this something that sounds appealing to you, Tom Merritt?
Yeah, sure. It always, as always, it depends on how it works, right?
Yeah.
This is not surprising because General Motors uses Android Automotive as its base operating system for its custom stuff. So I'm guessing Google was like, well, we're putting Gemini in Android Automotive. You want to use it?
Be there.
And GM said, yeah, sure. So yeah, if I can say, turn down the volume 10%, that's great. that's super handy. You can already kind of do this when you have your phone in Android Auto. So having it built into the car, I think is good. The other part of this story is that GM has consolidated its compute platform from, I think, something like 6 or 8 different nodes to 3. So it's more centralized and it's faster, and it's got a faster Ethernet throughout the car. So it's able to do more efficiently because of that. And that's going to help Gemini be able to do some interesting things. But the thing that really caught my eye was GM saying, we are going to have our own customized solution for this to replace Gemini down the road, which is exactly what they did with Android Auto and CarPlay. So I'm very curious to see how and if they actually replace Gemini.
Yeah, and if they do, how effectively,
Yeah.
Because I mean, Gemini is a pretty mature. I mean, in the world of these things that have only existed for a couple of years.
I'm guessing it would just be a custom version of Gemini. They would just go to Google and say, "Can we take your model and customize it?" And then we'll call it Gemini.
I love it, Gemini. That's good. That's good. The reason that this caught my eye is because I had a very related experience just this last weekend on this front. So, one of our vehicles is a Tesla. And I went to Reno with my older daughter. She was in a swim meet, and we were in the car.
2 strikes now, Tesla and Reno, but go ahead.
Look, it is what it is. I bought the Tesla. We got the Tesla years ago, all right? But we don't have a bumper sticker on the back. Anyways, I used in the dash the button to give a voice command to navigate. And I noticed on the interface, it said, speak your voice command or whatever for navigation. Then below it, it had a little long press for grok button, or little call out. I was like, oh my goodness. I do not spend any time with Grok. It is not integrated into my use at all. I've just, to be honest, I've kind of stayed clear of it for whatever reason, which we don't need to get into. But I couldn't help but push that button because I was so curious, like, okay, what does it mean to have Grok in a car, built into the interface? And what took place, like, it's a very interesting kind of experience because you can change the voice and you can select different personas to interact with. Some of them, like there is one that is like the naughty persona, by the way, in your car, which is a little weird, but anyways. But what it led to was my daughter and I, she's almost 16. She's very, she's very easily entertained with something like this. And once I started just like poking and prodding the agent or the Grok, what we did was we spent all of our energy trying to get it to just scream at the top of its lungs. And it was kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Like you work hard enough, eventually you can get there.
Make it do stuff.
You can kind of break it a little bit. And oh my goodness, it was so much fun. Like we were laughing hysterically.
Well, because it's the full model, and Grok's a decent model. Like they've developed it to a point where it's competitive with GPTs and Geminis and all of that.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, so I could see some, and of course we also used it for suggestions for where to eat, and it actually did a pretty good job. We liked where we ended up. So
there you go.
It could be
good
useful.
for you, Grok.
There you go. Pat on the back, Grok. All right. Well, we've reached the end of this episode. I know you got to go because you are a very, very busy podcaster. You are stacked today. And so I'm completely honored that you were able to carve out.
Oh, no. The honor is all mine, man. Thanks for inviting me on. Jeff Jarvis is a legend. And so I'm happy to just keep the seat warm for him for a week.
Well, thank you, Tom. DTNS.substack.com. Is that where you want people to go to see what you're up to?
Daily Tech News Show. You can find it anywhere you get podcasts, but people might not realize that we have a Substack where you can get Daily Tech News Show, Daily Tech Headlines, DTNS Live, Live With It, all of our tech offerings all in one place, delivered through Substack. So yeah, check that out, dtns.substack.com.
There you go. There you go. And, check it out even today, and you will hear Tom and I talking about
the episode where Jason and I talk about the XR headset. Sarah Lane's on that episode, giving her Apple Vision Pro perspective as well. So check that out.
I love it. Okay, I got to check that out then. All right, dtns.substack.com. You can find all of the information that you need about this show at aiinside.show, subscribe links, all the socials, episodes, the reviews. When you all submit a review, it'll appear there. See, you'll be famous. So there you go. And then finally, patreon.com/AI Inside Show. If you want to support us on a deeper level, this is how you keep the show rolling. And we appreciate all of our supporters. We also really appreciate our executive producers, Dr. Do, Jeffrey Maricini, Radio Asheville 103.7, Dante St. James, Bono Dayrick, Jason Knifer, Jason Brady, Anthony Downs, and Mark Starcher. There are so many of you, and wow, we couldn't do this without you. So thank you for your support. I'm assuming Jeff Jarvis will be back next week, so you won't have to keep the seat warm for him again. But if ever the need may arise, you better believe I'll be reaching out to you, Tom. Thank you.
Absolutely.
This was a lot of fun.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll see y'all later on another episode of AI Inside. Take care, everybody.